Alright, in this video we're going to work on getting our double unders on an opponent from our seated position. And from there we're going to work our sumi geashis from double under, shoulder crunch, neck pinch, and shoulder crunch. Okay, so first we want to try and get underneath our opponent. Okay, now in the seated position, my goal, if I want double unders or even just a single like an over under, is to get Jared's hands on the mat over my shoulder. So I'll be looking to try and scoot underneath Jared and get his hands on the mat over my shoulders, where my head slips on the inside of his shoulders. If his shoulders are in front of my shoulders, it's harder to get my underhooks, my over-unders, because I can't get deep underneath his elbow where he's going to be able to pull his elbow down. Okay, so this would be a weak, a losing position. So my goal when I'm attempting to get a double under or an over under position is I want my head to slip on the inside of his shoulders where I can get a deep over under position or double under position, and then I can pull my head back over. Okay? So from the seated position here, I want to be looking to get to typically a 2-on-1, okay? And then we do a forward shift where I shift forward and underneath Jared. So if Jared's not engaging, he's just kind of sitting back and being defensive, it's going to come from me forward pressuring, maybe collar tying, snapping him down, getting 2-on-1s. If he goes to like post across my shoulder, I can repost and then scoot underneath. Okay? And notice how I pull my knees to my chest. We use our knee pulls to help facilitate the pull forward to help slip my head on the inside. So I'm not just relying on my arms to pull Jared over and leaving my knees away from my chest. Okay? So as I get my 2-on-1, okay, or if I was able to get behind his elbows, any way I can get behind the arm here where I can start to pull. Okay? So typically it's off a 2-on-1. I find it's the best grip to get for this position. And then as I do, we sit forward. I hold my elbows tight to my body here, and I pull my knees to my chest and get his shoulders over mine. So from here we're going to be going for our double unders first. Okay, I'm going to attempt to get the strongest grip I can, and then from there we'll work our way back to single arm traps. So once I get his shoulders above mine, I slip my head on the inside of his shoulders, I'm looking to get double unders. Okay. Now for me, typically, ideally, I want to lock my hands behind Jared's neck with my elbows in one straight line, okay, across his shoulder line, not with my elbows in. Now with my short arms, I can't typically reach that right away, so I go for a false grip where I cup the shoulders and I flare my elbows out. This brings them chest to chest, where now I can connect my hands. Now, because of the angle of my elbows, if Jared tries to pull his elbows back down, it's extremely difficult. And then I'm also not being lazy here. I'm in good head position where I'm ear to ear, my head's off the shoulder, so if he attempts to frame, it's difficult. Okay? And then from here, we're going to be looking for our sumi geishis. Okay? So the first step is getting from a seated position, getting his body elevated over ours so I can get my head on the inside of his shoulder line. So work to get 2-on-1s, or depending on how he's grabbing us, so I can go double elbow, and then we're forward shifting, knee pulling, and getting his hands over our shoulders. As I forward shift, I lift, knees to shoulders, I pummel from my underhook. Now you can expect your opponent to try and sit back down. As I do, I connect my hands on and get my head over Jared's, over his shoulders, not like this. From here, make sure that our elbows are in one straight line. Even without a grip here, you can see if Jared tries to pummel his hands in or pull it back, it's difficult. So really exaggerate that lift on the elbows. Okay? And then just like in our body lock series, the tighter the grip I can make, the smaller circle I can make, the tighter this grip is going to be. So at the very least, all right, we go false grip, 10 finger, palm to palm, butterfly. Now for the sweep, I'm going to forward shift slightly, and then I'm going to go to the side my head is on. Forward shift, extending his base, I'm getting his elbow as far away from his knee as I can, keeping our elbows in a straight line the entire time, and then we lift with our secondary leg. From here, you're typically going to end in a 3/4 mount position. I can hold our double chest wrap, foot wipe, get back to mount. You can work knee cutting across, so side pin. Just depends what kind of work you're trying to do from there. So instead of trying to dive in for double unders here, which is never going to work on a decent opponent, we need to be able to slip our head on the inside. So 2-on-1, forward shift. I get my knees to my chest. Look how my head slips inside. And off of 2-on-1, this arm is already going to be underneath. Look how I use inside elbow position, just like on our half guard series. I use inside elbow position to get that arm higher so I can pummel for my underhook. So when I was here, let me have that 2-on-1 quick. So when I lifted off that 2-on-1, this hand's already underneath, but this elbow's gonna be stuck underneath. All I do is just elevate my elbow to punch for that underhook. Sitting up the entire time, false grip, pulling Jared's shoulders back below mine, and then working to get a better grip. Okay. Hooks engaged the whole time, so if he tries to step over my knees at any time, I'm following, okay, following. I'm going to attempt to sweep by forward shift. I extend the leg I want to sweep to, lifting, and then now I go to mount. If he traps, we're stuck in a really dominant double chest wrap where I can just make Jared suffer in this position. Foot wipe. One more time. So from the open guard, the seated position here, looking to get 2-on-1s. Anytime the post on the shoulders, I could even go like this. Forward shift. False grip. Head back above. Elbows in a straight line. Really exaggerate this. Look, even just a little deviation from center, Jared's gonna start pulling his arms back down. Okay, and I'll lose this position. Elbows above my wrists. Locking your grip up. Forward shift. Just really quick, a little variation. When I was playing maybe like a half butterfly guard, it'd be the same type where I'm trying to lift, slip my elbows on my head on the inside of the shoulders and start getting to our double unders or neck crunches. So it's the same. Anytime I want to go for underhooks, I'm trying to slip my head on the inside. I'm never sitting up trying to pummel for underhooks. I'm always trying to get my head on the inside of the shoulders, where now I can get deep underhooks. Okay, over time. Forward shift, head on the inside. I got my double unders. Put my head back on the outside of the shoulders, locking up my ideal grip. I can even kick out this foot for base, okay? Or if he's being really strong with that knee, lift. So from the seated position, if my goal is to go for double unders, I'm looking to elevate Jared's shoulders above mine, slipping my head on the inside of his shoulders so I can get ideal range on my double unders. So from our double unders, we're going to look to switch to a neck pinch. Okay, when our opponent we're losing one arm on our double unders. So we use the same setup to get to our double unders. So we forward shift, we slipped our head on the inside of the shoulders, and we got to our initial double unders here, right? Our false grip, and then to our ideal grip transition. So from here, I typically lose this one or two positions. Either initially I just didn't get my elbows flared up enough and Jared's able to start gaining head height, slipping his shoulders back down, or a more flexible person with my elbows not flared out, they're just gonna frame right away if I was maybe kept my head down low, and now I'm gonna lose this position. Okay. So if that happens, we just need a forward shift and start back over. But another position we might lose this in is in the sweep. As I start going for the sweep, if I'm not careful with this elbow, decide if I was going to my left again. So as I start sweeping to my left, if I let that elbow drop down, look how Jared pulls his elbow down. Okay, and then now, as I go for a sweep, now he can start placing this arm on the mat, and I'm not gonna be able to get to my sweep. But it's gonna open up for our neck pinch, okay? So if I lose it here, Jared starts framing, I need to just starting over, okay? So let's assume that we got to our grip, okay, or a deep false grip, and I attempt to go for my sweep. As I go to forward shift, I start losing this elbow position. He starts pulling it down, okay? Now I'm not gonna probably be able to hold my double unders here very long, so I'm gonna switch to my neck pinch. So for the neck pinch, my underhooked hand that I'm gonna keep needs to come all the way across to the far shoulder, in front of his neck, not shallow here. So on the double unders, we already had it right in the middle. I'm just gonna punch across. The underhook we're losing, it's not much of a transition. I just pull my elbow in and then shoot it back over his shoulder and pull his neck back into mine. This is the neck pinch, okay? Grip doesn't really matter. I just prefer the overhooked hand is thumb down. You could go 10 finger, palm to palm, butterfly, but this hand is pulling the top hand for the neck pinch. Okay, so I'm trying to pinch his neck into his shoulder. And the inside hand is elbow in, however your grip is. So you can see there's no way Jared could pummel on the inside with that hand. If my elbow is open, if he pummels in, he's gonna kill your neck pinch. And I'm not gonna be able to hold this very long. So make sure when you punch from the underhook, like it's right here, I never give him any space. So you don't have to try and pull your elbow out like this, where he's gonna be able to pummel in and get inside position and lose it. You already had, let me have my hand on this side here. I already had my elbow on the inside, like I'm punching over. I know I'm losing the double unders. I pull, and I just shift my head to the other side. Now, once we secure our neck pinch, I'm gonna immediately keep trying to sweep to that same position. This will be my initial sweep attempt. I keep lifting with our initial elevation leg, but our driving leg is now the one on bottom, okay? Instead of trying to kick out that leg, I pull my driving leg in, and this is the one we're driving over. And my goal for this sweep is to keep his shoulder below the near side shoulder. So by pinching down, he's not gonna be able to post very much longer, and I'll be able to keep taking this sweep. Now I gain elevation, and I can either take mount, or ideally on this position, I'm gonna end into a side pin. So start with our initial setup on our double unders. I was successful in slipping my head on the inside. I even got to a good 10 finger or butterfly grip, and I'm attempting my sweep. We sweep to the same side my head's on, and I mess up here. Okay, either he just yanks that elbow down, and I was still in good position, like he was just stronger than me in this position, or I got lazy, and as I swept, I let this elbow drop. He pulls it down. Continue to elevate in this direction. Okay, look how that gets his hand weighted on the mat, and I'm able to pull my hand in and get to my neck pinch. By continuing the elevation, before I even get my grip, come back over here, Jerry. By continuing the elevation in the direction that I'm losing the underhook, it allows my head to slip to the side that I want it in now. So in one motion, I'm slipping this hand on the inside and slipping my head over to the other side. Here. Now continue the sweep. Look how my driving, lift this leg up really quick, Jerry. Look how this driving leg, instead of kicking out like we did for the double unders, as I'm going to switch to the neck pinch, that's my driving leg. It posts on the mat. Go and put the knee down. Post on the mat. That's my driving leg. And I just keep hopping, hopping. I keep that head connection. And right here is when I'm going to switch to a knee cut. Drop down. Double unders. I go for my sweep. I'm kicking out that base. And I lose that elbow. Head switches to the near side. Secure my neck pinch. Look at my head position. Okay. Take note of the head position. I want my head. We're not being lazy here. Or maybe a flexible person might be able to frame with this arm across and start giving me troubles. My head needs to be higher than Jared's the entire time. Okay, elbow is pulling down. This elbow is pulling up towards the ceiling the entire time on our neck pinch and shoulder crunch sweeps. By pointing this elbow towards the ceiling, it elevates the shoulder, which is in turn is going to make this sweep easier. One more time, let's jump from this direction. So, off a failed double under on the side we were initially trying to sweep, if your opponent starts to pull their elbow down, don't try and stay on a losing position. Just switch your hand to the inside, your head to the opposite side, and now you're in an ideal neck pinch sweep. So we went from a failed double under sweep to a successful neck pinch sweep. Okay, so transferring from our neck pinch that we just looked at, we're going to switch to a shoulder crunch. So same thing, we start from the most dominant grip maybe is the double under, and as we lose it we can continue to other dominant positions like the neck pinch and then now the shoulder crunch. So now we're not losing an entire position having to restart, we're just going from one to the other, flowing from one good position to the next. So we start with our double under still. Let's just continue in the movement we did. Rotate this way a little bit. We go for our initial sweep. I lose this position. I switch to my neck pinch. Now in the neck pinch, I'm going to switch to a shoulder crunch now. Now we showed that we initially keep trying to sweep in the same position, the same direction, sorry. From here, if I start to lose head position, okay, his head starts to drift away. Before his head gets too far, I'm going to switch to a shoulder crunch. So just as the double unders, when come back just a little bit, put your head back over here. When I realized I was losing this position and I'm not going to be able to hold the elbow, okay, we're going to keep elevating and switch to the next position. Same thing here. If I feel like I'm losing this position, instead of fighting a losing battle and hanging on too long where he's going to get out, I'm going to switch to the next position, which is our shoulder crunch. Okay, so we just transition from one to the next. So on the neck pinch, if in my elevation I lose the chest and shoulder connection here, okay, we need a switch. I switch a pass off. I switch my hand in front here. So the underhook hand that we lost, we switch to the neck pinch. From the neck pinch, I'm going to switch to our shoulder crunch. I want to put my watch right against Jared's neck, and then we just pass this hand in front, and I get to a deep butterfly grip here. Okay. Now we can continue to sweep in that same direction. It's going to be a little bit harder now because of the distance that's created from the double unders to the neck pinch to the shoulder crunch. You can see he got further and further away from me as I switched to these sweeps. Now I can still get this if I can keep this shoulder pinched, okay, or crunched to my chest. Elbows in a straight line as in the neck pinch. I want to point this elbow towards the ceiling. I'm going to keep trying to go for the sweep. If I can get this shoulder higher than this shoulder, I want to be able to successfully get him over. Okay? Now typically I'm going to stop and get to a knee cut position, but you can transfer to mount depending on how he reacts. Okay? So I'm always going to try initially to keep going in that same direction, because it's going to help me in a multi-directional way as he comes back. As he really tries to bring his head back over mine, it's going to give me the sweep that I really want, which is in the other direction. Look head on right here. So we get our head on the inside of the shoulders. I drop his shoulders back down below mine. I get to my double unders. Now we can start our sweeping sequence. I try to go for my double unders. I lose the elbow position. I switch to my neck pinch. I try my neck pinch. I lose that chest shoulder connection. So I pass off in front and pull that shoulder back in. I continue to try to sweep. If I'm successful in getting his shoulder above the far one, I'm gonna be able to sweep. I just keep going over the shoulder and I end in a good dominant topside position where this arm is already compromised for arm bars and kimuras. Okay. So really quick look just at the shoulder crunch already in it. I want my wristwatch on the inside arm against his neck. I don't want this, where now I can't crunch that shoulder down and he's gonna be able to start driving his head back towards mine, okay, and get my arm in a compromised position. Here, I can even hold Jared off momentarily without gripping, okay? I could kind of cup the shoulder, I could still have a neck pinch across. Maybe I come back to the neck pinch, okay? So your wristwatch should be right here and my elbow still tucked on the inside, okay? So I can get my grip. And the grip, if your wristwatch is against his neck, you won't have any trouble worrying about where your grip's at. But make sure we're above, way above that shoulder joint, okay? Not right on it. See, now he can drive his head back towards center and I don't have trouble sleeping, okay? So wristwatch, just rule of thumb, if it's against his neck, you're in good position. Same with our grips. Palm to palm is great, but in this position, you should have no trouble getting to a butterfly grip. This is what I want, okay? Butterfly grip. From here, elbows are on one line. This elbow on the underhook side, whether I'm sweeping to his free hand side or I come back in a misdirection and I sweep back here. Notice how my elbows stay in the same line the entire time. I'm never dropping it down. And come back this way. Never dropping it down where I'm going to lose elbow position. Pull this elbow back down. Where I lose elbow position. Okay. From here, this is probably the most important cue to get a successful sweep where you're going to lose it, is the elbow positioning. So I keep my elbows pointed in one line the entire sweep. Okay. Whether I'm going to take Jared over to his posted side, or I take Jared over, I make him really commit to bring his head back center. Here, my elbow stayed in one line the entire time. We'll do it again from this. Knees the chest, head slips inside. Push the head back below our shoulders. I go for my double under. I lose the position. I switch to my neck pinch. I'm trying to sweep, I'm losing shoulder connection. I pass off and switch to my shoulder crunch. I try to keep sweeping in this direction most of the time. This side will fail, but I don't want to really attempt that position. Make sure we keep that the shoulder connection to our chest. Don't lose this connection here. This is the chest shoulder connection I'm talking about. The tighter this is going to be, it's going to really put some pressure on that shoulder. Okay? As he tries to bring his head back over center, I reconnect my inside hook, and then we lift. Okay, don't get an attempt to try and drop the shoulder down. The arms in one line is going to do all you need. Lift, keep that shoulder connected to your chest, and take him over. Now, from this position here, don't allow your opponent to push that knee back in and turn back towards you in a compromised half guard position. Okay, all right, or he could just do it right back to you. So go back to it right there. So when you take your opponent over as he's landing, okay, drop the knee down. What I like to do is drop the knee down and get to a good head and arm position. Or as he was going over, punch for your double unders. So even if you turn back towards me, I'm already in a good double under position. And I can switch back to my double chest wrap and start working our mount series, okay, that we went over in class. One more look. So the key to having good sumi geashi, whether you're looking for your sumi geishis from double unders, over under, neck pinch, shoulder crunch, is multi-directional. We didn't go over this in the double unders and neck pinch, so I'll show it now. I should be able, okay, to sweep in both directions with any of these. I'll have much more successful sweep percentage if I'm able to, with any of these, start going, okay, in both directions. So for the shoulder crunch, look to go off of your neck pinch. If you're losing that shoulder chest connection, your opponent's getting away from you, immediately pass off to a shoulder crunch. And then from there, continue in the same direction. And as they try and bring back their body center, look for multi-directional sweeps in the opposite direction, and then go to your mount or side control series.